Alright, I've seen enough. The great Chinese century is taking over Counter-Strike in real time. JamYoung, better than Donk. You heard it here first. G for president. TYLOO have won a tournament. The Fissure Playground has just wrapped up. Its grand finals were this morning. If you're wondering why I didn't do a recap for this tournament up until now, don't worry about it. TYLOO took on Astralis in a best-of-5 series, and on the other side of it, TYLOO have walked away with the victory. JamYoung led the way with a dominant 1.40 rating performance over 4 maps. He had 90 kills. He was incredible. Let's go ahead and break it down. If you guys enjoy these recaps, you can show me by leaving a like, leaving a comment down below, and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Helps out immensely on YouTube algorithm, as well as my goal of reaching 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And lastly, before we get started, I would like to thank today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by SkinsMonkey, a CS2 trading website. You put in the skins that you want to trade, you select what you want, you use my code LionHeartZ for up to $5 off, or click the top link in the description, and boom, new drip.
Nice.
You can also use my code for a 35% deposit bonus if you want to buy with real money. And they have a free section with cool giveaways. So check the top link in the description, use my code to buy 15 Dragon Lores to let them know I sent you their way, and thank you to SkinsMonkey for sponsoring this video. Just so we're clear, this is not going to be a fully in-depth recap, as again, I didn't cover any of this tournament up until now. Mainly going to talk about how TYLOO did, kind of some of the high points from the grand finals, and some of those juicy narratives as we get ready for the run-up to Cologne in a few days. Anyways, for TYLOO, this is a pretty historic moment for the org, as far as I can tell, at least in like CSGO, CS2 history, this is their first A-tier or better international LAN win ever. They've won a bunch of stuff domestically in the Asian scene, and obviously they've been a relevant team in World Counter-Strike for many, many years, but they've yet to secure anything close to this good of a placement amongst international competition, especially of this level. This is also by far the biggest prize pool they've ever walked away with, winning $150,000, so that's really remarkable, and a huge congratulations to the team. Their kind of run-up through this last year, kind of culminating in how they did at the Austin Major, has been genuinely really fun to watch. There's a lot of very exciting talent on this team, and I think in general, we're all just kind of taking it in, this big explosion of Asian CS really breaking through into the mainstream, where now not only do we obviously have Mongols who just made a major grand finals, but LinVision and TYLOO are very competitive teams, and we all see a lot of promise in teams below them all the time. The talent has always been there, but as other people have talked about ad nauseum, the biggest thing has been the gap in strategy and understanding of the meta because of how isolated teams like China are from the rest of the world. These teams are getting to play internationally more and more, so their understanding of international Counter-Strike is only getting better, and that's starting to catch up to just how damn good these guys are as individuals, because they've always been able to bang heads off, but now they have the tactical base, they have the coaching, they have the depth of strat book to be able to hang with some of the best teams in the world, and TYLOO have taken that first step forward by capturing this title. Now, Fissure is of course not the biggest LAN in the world, it's pretty small scale all things considered, but it was played on a stage in front of a pretty nice crowd. It was by no means a studio win, and you played best of threes the whole way through and won a best of 5 grand final. So it had all the format stuff you would want, the presentation was pretty good. The only reason I didn't really cover this tournament more is because, you know, it's really close to Cologne, and I was kind of like saving my energy for recaps there. Also, I tend to just kind of focus on the tier 1 S tier tournaments, and while there were a lot of notable teams here, this still wasn't the most consequential tournament in the world, so I decided to kind of just keep an eye on things and make some videos about narratives coming out of it. I have some more videos coming down the pipeline that are going to follow this, but obviously with the grand finals of TYLOO winning, we want to focus here first. So getting into it a little more specifically, what happened in this grand finals? TYLOO won 3-1, they dropped the opening map on Inferno, they had a great bounce back on Nuke, they then had a miracle comeback on Mirage where they were down 8-12 at one point before taking to overtime and beating Astralis 14-16, and then they swept them out of the server on Ancient. For Astralis, this was a pretty bad showing for them on a grand final stage, as they had been cruising through the group stage and the playoffs pretty seamlessly. Device especially looked to be in pretty good form. In the previous day's semifinals, he had gone ballistic against BetBoom, capping off the second game victory with a 26-9 performance on Nuke. Overall, Astralis looked just very, very tight, well structured. HooxMaxx continues to be a revelation for this team in terms of strategy, but for Astralis, what continues to be their issue is the inconsistency in their riflers. Stown and Yabby are just so coin flippy, and even worse, Stayer, who is often the rock of this team, went totally missing in the grand finals. Over all 4 maps, he ended with a scoreline of 44 and 68. All I'm saying, Stayer, is you should have at least died one more time. All right, listen, if you're gonna have a bad finals, at least get the funny number. Like, if you got the 69 deaths, we could have just sat here and been like, nice, and then we would have moved on. But now we have to sit here and be like, well, you actually were just kind of bad in the grand finals. Just a tactical error on your part, Stayer. Could have died one more time and avoided this, but you didn't. But really, the bigger issue is that HooxMaxx was the best player for Astralis in the entire series. He was your top frag, HooxMaxx. And listen, I am on the GigaChad hype train. You know, I think he is the best in-game leader to ever live. I think he is the GOAT, actually. Excuse me. I prefer when Device and Stown and Yabby get more kills than him. Hot take. And really, like, where things went super wrong for Astralis was Mirage. They had that game banged to rights. Not only was G just having a miserable game, like when Astralis hit match point, G had only 5 kills. And G is a very important piece of this team, obviously. He's the Opper. If you have the Opper doing that poorly, you need to close this out. And Astralis had 4 chances to do so, and they simply couldn't. Meanwhile, on the other side, JamYoung is just going Super Saiyan, going blow for blow with Stown as the best player in the server. This was pretty much Stown's only good game in the series. And then he goes thermonuclear in the overtime and ends the game with a 30 bomb. Like, TYLOO hit overtime and just looked like a different team. This was definitely an Astralis throw, and I feel like this weighed on them heavily going into Ancient as TYLOO just continued to steamroll. Like, Astralis looked like they were out of gas and out of options once we got to Ancient. You had Stown and HooxMaxx kind of trying their best, but Yabby and Stayer were just having miserable games. Meanwhile, JamYoung just cruises to a 27 and 14 stat line with 1.61 rating. Dude, JamYoung is just so good. He is so fun to watch. He's very similar in style to a player like Donk. He's incredibly aggressive, and he's just going to, on both sides, get in your face and try and take space. When he has that AK in his hands, he just lets it sing. Just so many impactful multi-kills, whether it be CT side, pushing down into mid-control to fight elbow, or rotating around to help support B inside of caves. Like, JamYoung was just doing so much here in this series to keep them alive. Like, it makes total sense that he walks away with the MVP here. Over the entire tournament, he ends with a 1.40 rating over 13 maps. He had plus 89 in terms of kill differential as someone who's doing, you know, more or less the majority of their openings. It's him and Mercury splitting the opening percentage on this team. And for the event, he ends with a 56% success rate on those opening attempts. That puts you in incredible company. These are, you know, Zontares, Donk, Xerxin level opening numbers, which I hope that JamYoung can continue to produce, because TYLOO are just, they're becoming a team to be worried about. Looking ahead at IEM Cologne, which is just in a few days, TYLOO play their first game this Wednesday against Virtus.pro, and that's a team they can jump, like, right out the gates. They literally beat Virtus.pro here at Fissure Playground, and they beat Virtus.pro with their fucking coach as a stand-in. They didn't even have G. Like, they didn't even have G on their team. They had Zhang King stepping in for G, and JamYoung still carried them to a 2-0 victory. Granted, one of those games was in overtime, but it's on Anubis, and guess what? Anubis isn't in the fucking game anymore, so I don't even care about it. Like, you already beat Virtus.pro once with a worse lineup. This should be a slam dunk opening matchup for TYLOO, and at that point, it's just, you know, all bets are off, man. I want to see them make a run here at Cologne. I think it'd be a really cool narrative for them to go from this tournament buoyed by that victory and make another good showing here. They have all the momentum in their corner, and if nothing else, I want JamYoung to continue to break out as like a new star player. That's going to be the most exciting thing to see play out. Congratulations to them again. Let's focus a little bit on Astralis. Overall, another really good run for this team. This is now 2 HooxMaxx events in a row and 2 Grand Finals appearances in a row, which is 1, proof positive that HooxMaxx was absolutely the right move, and 2, shows that Astralis can be a competent top 10 team in the world. Should they have won here? I think based on name value, yes, but TYLOO were clearly the best team at this tournament, or at least they were in the playoffs, so I don't think it's a big deal that Astralis does lose here. If they had captured this tournament, I think it would have been a huge vote of confidence, but at the end of the day, Astralis are still going to struggle around the fact that Stown and Yabby are just not dependable pieces, and they've not given us many reasons to doubt that assessment. At this point, I'm waiting for them to turn the corner, and they simply haven't. And I don't know if HooxMaxx or their sports psychology team or whatever can help turn that around, because I think it's just something mental. These players just don't seem to handle pressure very well. Meanwhile, Device looks sharp. He looked very good in this event. I believe he was the best rated Omper at Fissure Playground, but the question is, how is Device's health going to hold up? Stair obviously had a very bad grand finals, but he's been your most dependable piece. I'm not going to hold it against him for having one bad series. He is the Rock. He does all the bitch rolls. If he has one bad game, I'm not going to look too sideways at it. Astralis overall, they're super solid. I'm really in HooxMaxx's corner for this team to succeed, but it feels like they're missing that X Factor piece, that real like hit of star power. And I don't know where they're going to find that without swapping pieces around, and I don't know how much they're going to be able to, because obviously Astralis financially are in a difficult position as an organization. It seems like they need to just kind of hold down, make some good runs here, and get to a major. They need to make the Budapest major so their org can make some goddamn money, and then maybe we can make a move forward with HooxMaxx and make this team more competitive down the road. Overall, it's still the era of the Giga Chad, Cadian fans in shambles. They made another grand finals. That's awesome. Congrats to Astralis. Congrats to TYLOO once again. And honestly, Fissure, congrats on running a very good event, all things considered. I personally don't really like the platform exclusivity thing, because with a lack of co-streaming applications, it was hard to find a English broadcast that wasn't on Kick. I understand that that's the point, and that's why you guys are branded with Kick. I get that, but I prefer streams to be as accessible as possible. So, if there was at least an English broadcast available on other platforms, I think that would have been more ideal. But other than that, you guys are another small tournament operator in the space, and you ran a damn good event. Congrats to you guys as well. And we'll see what you guys can do in the future with more events, because you guys got a lot of good teams here. So we'll see what happens in the future. Bit of a shorter recap for you guys. Get ready for I Am Cologne starting this week. You can find those videos here on this channel as they happen. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Help me hit 10K by the end of the year. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to JesseTiv for sponsoring this video. Check the link in the description. Go check it on their website. Let them know I sent you their way. Thank you to SkinsMonkey. Thank you to my channel members: Justin, Jesse, Furley, Milan Berta, Bubblesj, Dr. Cocktor, Patatas Kaftesi, PTR, B1 Games, Cody Foxworthy, Justin Vander Veit, I'm Flashbang, Snowmy White, Rowdy, Vergil'sPlasticChair, LBKcs, Snax Enjoyer, Crunchy Water, and zerotwocs. If you want to become a channel member, you can do so in the link in the description down below for $5 a month. You can see me in the video just like this. What's across the world, the community Discord. Make sure you follow me on Twitch at TYLOO. See you guys soon in another video. Bye.